this video, I want to cover the absolute value of a quadratic equation. I'm going to do it in two ways. If I give you an absolute value of a quadratic equation, I want you to first be able to find its graph, and then I also want you to be able to find its equation in piecewise form. So let's say f of x is equal to the absolute value of x squared minus x minus 6. So what I want to do is I want to graph this thing's function, and the way we do is we start out with the original function. So let's start out with y is equal to x squared minus x minus 6. Now what we know from this graph is it's a quadratic equation. It opens up, and really I know two really important parts. I also know a y-intercept, but I'm really looking for the x-intercept. So if I factor this thing, x minus 3 times x plus 2, what I know is this is going to have an x-intercept at 3 because that'll make the function 0 when you plug in 3, and also at negative 2. So I know I'm going to have one at 3. So I'm also going to have one at negative 2. Now we also know the thing opens up and it's got a y-intercept of 6 because when you plug in x equals 0, but sorry, negative 6. So when I graph this, we're going to have something that looks like this. All right, so this right here, remember, would be y is equal to x squared minus x minus 6. Now what I want to do is I want to transfer this to its absolute value. And how do they differ? Well, remember what absolute values do is they take positive things and leave them alone, and negative things and change their sign. So what we mean about positive and negatives, I'm talking about the outputs of the equation. Now let's look at this thing in really three pieces. Like up here, we can see the outputs are positive. So the absolute value is not going to do anything to that. But down here, they're negative. So what an absolute value does is it multiplies all the negative numbers by negative 1. So really just flipping this bottom part of the equation over the x-axis, making it positive. And then over here it's positive, so it just leaves it alone. So let's graph it. So we know that we have negative 2, positive 3. We know the graph is unchanged here. They're already positive. Now what's going to happen here is, remember, this thing is going to be down here is going to be multiplied by negative 1, which is going to flip it over the x-axis. So instead of going through negative 6, it's now going to go through positive 6. So it's going to look like this. So that is the graph of f of x, which is equal to the absolute value of x squared minus x minus 6. All right, let's think about it as a piecewise function. Well, what does f of x look like that way? Well, how many pieces? Well, we can see that then we have this piece down here, we have this middle piece, and then we have this piece over here. So what we know is that when x is less than negative 2, it's going to be the original function. This is x squared minus x minus 6. Now also up here, when x is greater than positive 3, it was still the same function, x squared minus x minus 6. Now, what happens to this middle part? Well, the way we reflect a function about the x-axis is we have to multiply that function by negative 1. So this is now going to be equal to negative 1 times x squared minus x minus 6. And that happens when minus 2 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 3. Now, you might ask yourself, like, does it matter where the equal signs go? Can I put it here instead of here? Yeah, the reason why you can put it there is because the function is continuous. What we know is that it connects at this spot. So if you choose to put this here, I'm going to have to take it off. So I'm going to have minus 2 less than x less than or equal to negative 3. So again, it's kind of your choice where you want to put the equal signs, as long as you don't put them in two spots at one time. So let's rewrite this function in total. So what we're going to have is x squared minus x minus 6, and this is when x is less than or equal to negative 2. We're going to have negative x squared plus x plus 6, and this is when minus 2 is less than x, which is less than 3. And then finally we have x squared minus x minus 6, and this is when x is greater than or equal to 3. So if you like the content, please subscribe. Thank you.